There goes that man's jockstrap.
Oh my God, did you see that?
America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast.
Hello, everyone. Today we have a special interview for you guys. From the small town of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, he played 3 years of hockey at D1 for the University of Minnesota Mankato, followed by a 4-year stint with the Buffalo Sabres in the NHL. Offensive defenseman, Casey Nelson. Hey, how's it going, man? Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so another great interview lined up. We appreciate having you on. Kind of everybody that we have on, we basically go from the time you remember, basically some of your first memories of sports, all the way through the end. So, kind of kicking us off here, growing up in Wisconsin Rapids, at what age did you start out on skates and kind of pick up your first stick and some of your earliest hockey memories?
I was told that I started skating when I was 2, but I didn't start actually playing until I was 3 at some point. I actually just, we took me and my family came down to Arizona here for Christmas, and we actually talked about that. So, hey, we just got to go by hearsay now with my parents, so.
Yeah, so other than hockey growing up, what other sports did you do? In addition to, again, youth hockey, were there other sports that you really excelled at a young age?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, T-ball, I was one of the best T-ball guys. No, I played baseball up until I think like 4th or 5th grade. That was kind of done after that. And then I played a lot of soccer growing up. And then I got into tennis in 7th grade. I actually really enjoy that, and me and my wife play a lot of that. But I mean, I like to do pretty much anything, honestly, growing up. But I mainly actually played competitively with just soccer, hockey, and tennis around high school time. So,
In high school, did you compete in anything besides hockey?
yeah, I played soccer up until I think it was 9th grade, and then that's when I actually stopped playing soccer and then went not full-time tennis, but I played tennis actually instead. And then obviously hockey. So just those two after a certain point. Kind of when hockey went, I guess, full-time, then I stopped playing soccer and picked up tennis.
So then that kind of ties into the second part question of the other sports. So at what point, you said you kind of leaned more into the 2 sports coming down the stretch, narrowing it out. At what point did you fully commit to hockey that you're like, all right, this is going to be a long-term thing. I see a lot of potential with this. We're going to set the rest of this aside, and hockey it is from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, probably around that 9th grade point. Not that I knew anything would turn out right. I mean, it wasn't I'm going to do this, but only this, and I'm going to do it full time. I was still doing other stuff. And that's what I always preach, like, to younger kids now, is like they're getting to that single sport at like elementary school, and it's just ridiculous. So I mean, a multi-sport athlete I still think is the best route to go for pretty much everyone. But no, I mean, it was kind of at that 9th grade point, 8th, 9th grade, somewhere in there, where not necessarily you're gonna, I guess, make a job out of it or even make a Division I college. I mean, nothing like that. It was more so just probably more so for ease with my parents traveling around. But no, it was right around that point where kind of not really got serious, but you kind of just cut some things off so it's easier on them too.
For sure. And then again, going through youth hockey, kind of getting closer into juniors, as you start to develop your own play style, what would you say is the player that you looked up to growing up and tried to mimic your play style after?
I would say definitely early on, like I liked Erik Karlsson a lot. Not that I could do anything that he could do, but that was definitely one of the players that I looked up to. I mean, Lindstrom, he was insane. Just obviously stupid skilled, but he just played all around. I was definitely an offensive guy up until early in my pro career. So that was kind of going off of them. But then when I started settling in after my first or second year, I went more towards a shutdown kind of guy for those top couple lines, just because I could skate. So sorry guys. So yeah, I mean, definitely Erik Karlsson growing all the way up, but there's just so many, right? And I used to watch a ton of hockey, so I would pretty much watch everyone and kind of take a hybrid style between a few players.
Sounds good. So then going from playing at just the high school level, I don't think you played for Team Wisconsin, did you?
No, I never made Team Wisconsin. No.
Same boat. So then after you left to go to juniors, you went up to play in Alaska. What was that like for, your first experience of getting out of Wisconsin, playing hockey at that next level?
Yeah. So, I mean, like out of high school, I didn't have any invites anywhere to any camps. So I literally went to 2 open junior camps. The first one was Janesville. I believe I had a good camp. But I still wanted to go. I think it was the following weekend, even right away for the Alaska camp. So I kept my options open. I went to that one, and I kind of went with where they wanted me the most, and I think that's why I chose Alaska. So, but yeah, I went to Alaska. That was seems like it's been like 20 years, but no. So I went to Alaska and played there for the first 2 years of my junior career. And it was unbelievable. My first year was definitely just from being a home. In my first year, moved away from home, right? I definitely got a little homesick, I would say, the first year, and I really noticed the dark. I mean, shit, we'd go into the rink and it would be dark, and then we'd come out and it'd basically be dark again. So we'd spend, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours in the rink doing everything, and then we get out finally and it's already going down. So it was definitely harder my first year, but my second year is probably one of my funner years so far. I actually moved in partway through the year with Evan Jansen, and me and him were roommates, and we had a couple of snowmobiles that we'd rip around. So that was definitely a highlight year, was that year.
That's awesome. And then following that season up, I believe you went and played 1 year for Johnstown.
Yeah.
And then after that, you went to Mankato. Did you get a scholarship to go play there, or was it a partial? How did you end up going there?
Yeah, so I went to Johnstown there. So our roster actually our team got sold. So the Alaska team got sold. So the roster moved to Johnstown. And then I played that season. It was actually awesome. The place, I don't know if you've been to the War Memorial there in Johnstown, but that's the classic rink in Slapshot. So that was our home rink, and it was actually pretty rowdy the whole year, just because it was inaugural year there. And so I played that season throughout, and then I went to what's it called? Oh, Top Prospects Tournament towards the end of the year. There's just the NHL Top Prospects Tournament, and that's where I committed to Mankato. Actually, right after the last, I hope I can still say this, but right after the last game, I stepped off the ice and I committed to Mankato with the coach right there. My brother was already there, so I mean that was like, it was somewhat. I mean, that's where I wanted to go, right? I mean, me and my brother were 3 years apart, so the only chance that we had to play together was when I was in 9th grade and he was in 12th grade in high school. but I didn't play varsity in my freshman year with him. So that was definitely part of my decision to go there. But I've also visited there a few times in the previous couple of years when he was already there.
So then what was that like also being a part of Mankato? Obviously, since you've been there, what was that, probably 10-ish years ago, give or take?
Yeah,
Or was it
it
even
was
longer than that?
close. I think it was, so 15, 16 was my last year there. 14. So 13, 14 was my first year, my freshman year there.
So give or take, not 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
They've been relevant, top of the country. You know, their teams have always been pretty good. Was that the type of atmosphere you were walking into when you went there? Were they like, all right, this is the change of what we're doing for the future?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like the previous 2 years, I want to say, before I got there. It was their first 2 years to go to the tournament. So, and that was because Hastings got there. I think it was three years prior to me getting there. Hastings basically came in and flipped the whole program around, just turned it completely around, because it was a bit of it's not, let's just say it's not how it was right now. So it completely flipped the whole program to relevant. And I mean, it's only gone up from there. I mean, my sophomore year, we're number one seed in the whole tournament. That's when we lost to RIT. Yeah, first round. So 16 seed beat number one seed. But no, I mean, they're doing crazy things. And this year, I think they've got another, you know what I mean? Another good shot to win the whole thing. So, no, it's exciting to see. I love keeping up with it.
And then you kind of mentioned it, your sophomore season. That was obviously kind of the season that put you on the map. Your 33 points as a defenseman in 40 games. That's kind of where I remember, all right, this kid from Minnesota, he's offensive defenseman. Did you set any records? It doesn't really say, but I believe at the time you set a couple records of like points as D-man, that type of stuff at the college.
I think it was definitely close. There's definitely something, I don't know what it was, but it's just it used to be a D2 school. So it was there's something between records being since a Division I program or being a D2 program. So I don't even know honestly what they would be, but no, that was definitely the year, obviously, that kind of the catalyst going forward, that definitely put me on the map. I knew I wasn't going to leave that year. I could have, but I mean, there's no point, right? Because I mean, if you're going to the NHL, you might never have an opportunity in the first place to go play in the NHL. But if you do get an opportunity, you better be ready, because that might be your only shot. So I knew if I was going to go after my sophomore year, I wasn't going to be ready, right? So no, and I wanted to go back anyway. So yeah, then I went back for my junior year there. So,
and then after your junior year, you left. You didn't play your senior season at Mankato. Did you end up going to a Flyers training camp that off season after your junior year?
No. So after my sophomore year, I went that summer, just the rookie camp, development camp, they call it. So I went to that in Philly. It was definitely an experience. It was actually one of the first year, I think it was the first year, because usually those development camps are absolute beggars. And Philly, I believe, was one of the first ones to do it where they didn't absolutely kill us like normal. So it was more so a learning experience. I mean, it was more so we were doing skill stuff and not getting absolutely whacked around like previous years. And I think pretty much every organization, even at that point, was still just beating their guys up for development camps. And that's obviously all their draft picks, and then whoever else they invite, whether it's college guys, to, I guess, come experience that.
Is there a limit, do you know, on how many players they can invite or have there for open?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because I know at the end of the week, it was a 3-on-3 tournament. I can't remember how many guys there were though. So, but yeah, that was before my junior year. And then after my junior year, we lost our last game my junior year in Mankato. And then I believe I played my first NHL game 2 weeks later. So.
I guess kind of before I ask this next question, I just thought of one kind of talking about college, and you talking about some of the opportunities you get in college or even juniors, to where if you have a sniff of the NHL, you better make the best of it. Otherwise, you might not get another shot. Going to a hockey school in Mankato, I mean, some of the other ones like North Dakota, Grand Forks, just some historic college hockey schools to go to. Would you say going to a school like that helped you kind of get your feet wet to be able to prepare yourself for the NHL? And kind of what was it like going to a college like that, to where, I mean, you always hear stories of basically you're treated like a celebrity on campus because of the, I guess, how highly they hold their hockey.
Yeah. I mean, we're like, the hockey program is the only Division I program at Mankato. So, it wasn't necessarily, there's celebrity status there, like probably like Nodak or the Gophers. But it was, I just liked it so much, even campus wise. I mean, I'm not a big school guy, but just the campus was it was just compact. Like everything was right there. Our practice facility was, I don't know, could walk from campus in maybe 5-10 minutes. So, I mean, it was right there. And obviously my brother was there. That was a big part of it. But no, I just loved the small town feel. Not like a Minneapolis feel, anything like that. So, that was definitely just a big reason that I wanted to go there. It was just a different feel. I mean, you go to some of those big campuses and they're so big that, I mean, it's like a full city. So, I mean, there could be their rink on the other side of town, and I didn't exactly want that. So, wasn't really in it for the status. It was more so the feel. So, I didn't really care what the school is called, anything like that. It was just a feel.
Sounds good. They're kind of talking about rinks. I mean, I'm sure you played in, I mean, dozens, if not hundreds at this point. Kind of getting into the professional side of your career, what arena / fan base would you say made for the toughest road games? It was just like, oh, we're going here again this week, and you got to kind of mentally prepare, physically prepare for what's about to happen that week.
Yeah. Gosh, I would say the toughest place to play in my professional career was actually in the American Hockey League. Syracuse Crunch, that's Tampa's AHL team. Oh my gosh. Every time we went there, it was a war. That's for sure. Otherwise, I mean, in the NHL, I didn't get to play like 10, 20 games at each rink, right? So I only played maybe a handful at most in some rinks. So, but I mean, my favorite place to play, even though it was tough, was the Bell Center in Montreal. That was always rowdy. Gosh, I don't know. There's so many. Pretty much every road game is tough. I know Toronto is a tough place to play, and even when we played Toronto in Buffalo, over half the rink would be Toronto fans, because the Buffalo season ticket holders, they would sell their tickets to Toronto fans for a premium. So we'd never have a home game against Toronto. It wasn't a great feeling, especially if you're, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, just that feeling in your home barn playing Toronto, but it actually feels like an away game. It's definitely a different feeling. So.
Kind of another part, again, I'm sure that's difficult of being a professional athlete. What part beyond what the eyes see, the cameras see, the media see, would you say is the toughest part about being a professional athlete?
I mean, it's a full-time job. I mean, you're always doing something, whether it's healing, healing away from the rink. I mean, you're always beat up, right? So I don't miss that part. But I mean, away from pretty much everything you guys don't see is what actually makes us capable of doing our job. And that's whether you're in the gym, whether you're getting treated for an injury, whether it's eating right, just everything accumulated that the cameras don't see is really all that matters and puts us in those positions to do our job. So yeah, there's just so much accumulated together that yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that matters is definitely off camera. So
And then kind of walk us through what the process was. How did you officially become a member of the Buffalo Sabres right after the end of your junior year?
yeah,
Like you said, it was like the 2-week period of your last game and then appearing for Buffalo on the main stage.
yeah. So I got done with my junior season there, last game, and I had to make the final decision on, okay, am I turning pro or not? So I hate talking about myself, as you can tell, but I could have went to any organization, but once I realized that I was turning pro, once I made that decision, then it comes down to, okay, where am I going to play? And I was in a great position, being whatever you want to call it, highly sought after, unrestricted college free agent. So I kind of had I had all my places to pick, but you always want to go where obviously they need players in that position. And usually that's some of the lower tier teams for that year. So it's definitely wherever I fit best, but also where could I step in and play in the NHL right now. So it was we cut it down to 5 teams, and then we cut it down to 2 teams, and it was Buffalo and Arizona. So we just decided Buffalo and kind of went from there. Once I made that decision, I was off to Buffalo in, gosh, maybe like 3 hours. I had to get my stuff packed and head to the airport. So it was really quick. Once I signed my contract, I was off to Buffalo within hours. So.
And then your first contract, was that just a PTO for the rest of that season, or was that
No, so
the
that was
official entry level deal that
yeah.
everybody gets?
Yeah, so that was entry level contract, whatever it is, entry level max. So I could only sign a 1 year because it all comes down to your age. So I was already 23, 24. So I could only sign a 1 year entry level. If I would have played my senior year and signed after, I could have signed, I wouldn't have been entry level contract anymore. So that's where the whole entry level contracts come into play. If I would have signed after my sophomore year, I would have signed a 2-year entry level. So it's all about your age, not how many years you can get on your contract, stuff like that. So it's already decided for you, just depending on when you sign.
Gotcha. And then one more quick question here before I toss it over to Collin here for his.
Yeah.
Jake McCabe, also from Wisconsin, same age group. Did you talk to him at all before going out to Buffalo at all? Did you reach out at all?
No, I didn't. I didn't even really know. Like, I obviously knew of him, and I don't even remember if we met each other in person before then. But no, yeah, we never talked before. But obviously, right when I got to Buffalo, we met. So yeah. Great guy. He's awesome. Just down to earth.
Before I ask this next question, again, another one kind of coming to mind as far as the transition between basically the college or AHL level, and then finally the last step to the NHL. In some other sports, like like the NFL, you have your combine, you have kind of that clear cut transition process between your second to last step and okay, I've made it to the big leagues. In the NHL, is there any again kind of steps that because there isn't like a big nationally televised like NHL combine, at least not that I've seen because I'm somewhat new to the sport of hockey myself.
Yeah.
I've only been following it for a handful of years. But is there kind of I guess, something that you would compare to NFL combine that's kind of that in between process for NHL player?
I mean, there is an NHL combine, but so that would be, they do that before. So actually, just like NFL, so they actually do, that'll be the younger guys. So once they turn 18, or no, it's even before that draft year. I can't even remember.
I thought if you're eligible for that draft, you
Yeah.
go.
So it's all about, so it would be those young guys. There is an actual NHL combine for those young studs to do, if they're invited to it, obviously, to do before the draft. So that does happen before draft every year. I couldn't tell you if it's televised or not, but I don't know I don't even know how relevant that is honestly anymore, just because everyone's so young and they're just recruiting younger and younger anyways. Some of these, especially like agents, they're recruiting kids that are
14.
not, yeah, or less. Like it's insane now. Like they're honestly getting to like that before teenage kind of time. So it's nuts.
That actually kind of ties perfectly into the next question. So, given the long, grueling road from youth hockey to the NHL, what advice would you give a young boy or girl starting out with hockey?
Like I said before, like I think if they kept playing the sports that they've been playing even before hockey, I just think multi-sport athletes are the best athletes. Not only that, just to have fun, right? I mean, that's really all it's about. If you don't enjoy hockey, you don't do it. You know what I mean? But that's kind of where the parents come into this stuff. Like you can tell some of them just push their kids so hard to play one sport or the other, even maybe because they played it before or whatever it is. And just some of these kids you can tell don't want to play the sport their parents want them to play. So it's definitely, I mean, if it's all about having fun. So I mean, that's my best advice, is just do what you enjoy and don't look back.
Sounds good.
And then I got two questions here. People compare, obviously you got to play there. Would you say people say the NHL is easier than the AHL level just because of the fact that everybody at the AHL level is trying to make it back up, where everybody at the NHL level, you're kind of already at that prestige level. Would you say that that's true?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely different types of easier. Like those top two lines in the NHL are, I mean, you better be able to skate, especially as a defenseman against them. And that's kind of why I was put in that position for at least a part time, one or two of the years, just because I could skate with those guys. So I had a much easier time defending some of the best guys in the world rather than those bottom two guys, because I wasn't very big. I mean, I was only 185 pounds. So, but I mean, there's like those guys just make stupid plays. So, I mean, that's just different than say in the AHL, where, like you said, everyone's not only that, but like obviously it's tough because everyone wants to get up, but everyone's trying to kill you at all times down there. So it's definitely a meaner game in the AHL on average. But those bottom two lines in the NHL I would say that's definitely a lot more like AHL hockey, obviously more skilled, but it's a meaty game down there. That's for sure.
Sounds good. And then that transitions to my second question here. What is that like, the process of moving between the NHL team and the AHL team during the season? I know you were back and forth between for a couple of years. What is that like? Like, do they tell you, all right, we're sending you down, you got to hop on the bus or take a plane here, and then we're going to need you back? Like, how does that whole thing work?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it is. To be honest, I mean, it's all business, right? It's just a business. So wherever they need you, they'll send you. If they're going to trade you, they're going to trade you. I mean, there is hard feelings at times, right? But it's a business and it's cutthroat. So like I said before, like you have such a small window of opportunity if you even get that window to make it to the NHL. So, but yeah, I mean, answering your question, it's like, say I'm playing in the AHL, and usually you got to be doing pretty damn well to be looked at to come up, depending on what they have for prospects down there, their draft picks, stuff like that. So they obviously like to give their guys that they drafted, right? More than likely first dibs on a lot of stuff. So I mean, some of that stuff was kind of frustrating. It was good, definitely in Buffalo, because they didn't really have any high drafted defensemen that were down in the AHL. A lot of those guys were already in Buffalo, so that was definitely good. But I could definitely tell in a forward point of view was they definitely leaned on some of those younger kids that were draft picks over some of the guys that weren't, even if they weren't playing quite as well. So it's just a combination of who they want to bring up. Someone hurt? Can they fill the same role? So, I mean, there's so many different factors that weigh in to making those decisions for them. So yeah, there's a lot of decision making to that process. There's just so many factors, like I said, and you might I'm sorry, I'm trying to word this the best I can. Just that small window, like if you get one opportunity, that's great. But there's so many times that you're looking in the AHL, guys have been down there for 5-10 years without a sniff in the NHL. They could be doing all the exact things. There could be injuries, but they still might not get the call. So and that kind of brings me back to my first point of being ready coming out of college to play in the NHL. But then after a bit of time, even that year after I had signed, I definitely wasn't ready full time. It's just, you have to be so consistent. So yeah, like even if you do get that shot, you might not be ready. So I don't know. Sorry, that's a big blender of crap.
No, it was perfectly. I think you answered that perfectly. And then, like, is there ever a case too, like you said, it's a business, the players are basically the pawns in all these different movements. Is there ever like a time where, okay, AHL, like you were in Rochester, is there ever a time where you're getting ready with the team, breakfast, whatever the case may be, and you get a call like, when, all right, big team needs you gotta jump right over and just completely drop your squad right there and go?
Oh yeah. It could be at any point in time, literally any point. Yeah. They could call you up mid-game, like anything. Like nothing's unheard of in the AHL for guys getting called up. It could be the most ridiculous traveling experience to get there too, like across the country. There's like just the craziest stories, like guys where there used to be AHL teams on one side of the country and their NHL team on the other. Like guys would hop across the whole country and they get there and we're sending you back down. Like stuff like that used to happen all the time. And I mean, it still does. It's just on average, those teams are very close to each other now. Not because I mean, I remember San Jose was their AHL team was, gosh, where is it, Worcester or Worcester, something like that? But I think that was in Massachusetts. I want to say somewhere in the East Coast. So I mean, they're completely opposite sides of the country. So there's stories, anything you can think of, it's probably happened for guys going up and down.
So yeah, my final question here for you, and again, kind of the focal point, it seems, of really this whole conversation is staying ready and being ready to be called up no matter what level you're at. Kind of tying into now your post-professional career. I guess a two-part question: Have you kept yourself ready now, being a year or two out of the league? And if the right situation were to happen, would you ever consider going back into the league, into the right team?
Probably not. No. I mean, I'm definitely not ready to play. I mean, I probably could be in, say, a few months. I mean, I stopped playing when I definitely wasn't topped out in any, definitely not. But could I be in a few months? Yeah, probably, but I wouldn't play in this environment. I'm not a big mask guy. You'll never see me with a mask on. I'm not. So I mean, I have my reasons that I would never go back and play. Yeah, I just I stopped playing. I would say my main reason was I just I wasn't intrigued anymore. I needed something. I just wanted to do basically anything other than hockey. So not saying I didn't want to play hockey, but there's just so much more out there that I wanted to either accomplish or see or follow through with. And that's when I would say my biggest catalyst for that was because I had a reason, and my reason was real estate. That was definitely, if I wasn't so intrigued with real estate, I'd maybe still be playing. But at the same time, I was just ready to be done. I wasn't going to play in this climate or go through the crap that they're going through just to play the game. Like I've got my reasons not to, let's just say that. But I enjoy not playing. That's for sure, especially right now. So yeah, I got a lot of different things going on that I'm glad I'm doing. And so after my last year there in Rochester, I had back-to-back concussions right at the end of the year there before we got sent home. And that was definitely part of it, but I would say more so I wanted to be done and I wanted to do other things.
Sounds good. Yeah, then that goes into my last couple questions here for you. At that point, like you mentioned, how franchises prioritize draft picks, other moves that they come in. Just on the outside looking at the situation that you were in, you're playing all the time, then all of a sudden they started trading for some of these top end defensemen that they started bringing over from all these other teams that they didn't want. You have Jack Eichel on your team, who's a huge, the face of that franchise. You have Rasmus Dahlin was drafted, I believe, when you were still on the team. Like, do you feel like they kind of like forced not saying like they forced you not to like be playing in the NHL, but do you also, like, from what I saw, was that like you were definitely capable of playing at that level. You did a great job when you were, and it kind of seems like they forced your hand almost to be the up and down guy instead of just staying with the top team. Like, do you ever feel like that, like they kind of like forced that on you?
I mean,
with some of the moves that they made, obviously you're not in control of that, but like,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say they forced my hand. They're always trying to get better, right? No matter what position it is. I would say I would maybe go and say they didn't embrace what I was bringing to the team at whatever point in time. Probably didn't help that I would say at the top of my NHL career when I was playing the most and stuff like that, I got hurt. So that didn't help. I was out for, gosh, I don't know, a good 4 months. That was when me and Darlene were playing together. We were playing stupid good. So, I mean, it's all timing, right? And when you're playing good, when you aren't playing good, like there's just so many things that have to go perfectly right for you to really staple yourself, stay in the league for a long time. So yeah, it just didn't work that way. So and it doesn't always work that way. I mean, some guys don't make it full time in the NHL for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So some guys are playing in the NHL or the AHL for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they finally get their one shot. And oh, look at that. They get to, not saying they shouldn't have been there in the first place for the previous years, but they finally get a shot, and they're very well seasoned veteran in the AHL, so they know exactly how to play the game. And I feel like those are a lot of the guys that are doing really well from some of my previous AHL seasons that have been teammates. They do really well in the NHL when they finally get their shot. So I would definitely say the AHL is very important for some guys to go through, just learning experience and playing the right way. Yeah.
Do you think playing in the AHL, like obviously if you have the opportunity to go and say you had to go back, would you have left your sophomore year and put yourself in the AHL experience rather than staying your junior year in the NCAA or WCHA or NCAA D1? Like, would you what experience do you think is, I guess, would help you out in the longer run?
You never really know, right? So I would definitely pick to for sure play college another year there for my junior year. So no, I'm glad I did that. I knew I wasn't ready, but also I loved it at Mankato, and especially when you can come in and be one of the top guys for that junior year and try to help the team win something big that we didn't exactly capitalize our sophomore year. So.
And then was there ever a time when you were on Buffalo that you thought about potentially even asking for a trade, wanting to go somewhere else, fresh scene, just to potentially even get a new opportunity? Or like you said, when you decided to call it a career, dead set on doing that, wanting to experience so many other things because hockey's what you've done basically the majority of your adult life so far.
Yeah. We didn't really explore it. I never said I wanted a trade, but we definitely explored other options after my third year there, before my last season. So that was definitely a talk. But like nowadays, it doesn't matter what team I'd go to right now. I just wouldn't want to play in this climate. Just what these guys have to go through every day. No, thank you. So I'm very content on doing what I'm doing right now. And definitely I like one of the big things, especially with concussion wise, I'm glad I was able to step away from the game on my own terms too. Because that second one out of the two definitely kind of put stuff into perspective. That it was the first one that really, really bothered me, like stomach wise, and wasn't a good feeling for a good month. And that was definitely part of it. But yeah, more so I was ready to do other things and really, really explore the world and not kind of have that freedom back. Because I mean, when you're playing, you're got to be here at a certain time, and then you got to go here. Like just obviously, but I mean that's part of the gig, right? And I knew that, and I loved it, but I was just ready to do my own thing, and I knew I had something to fall back on that I really loved, and that was real estate. So,
last question for you: did you get in any tilts in the NHL or the AHL?
Yeah, I got in one actually. Definitely the wrong guy to fight, but who did I fight? Gosh, who did I fight? Do you know who I fought?
I'm looking right now.
Okay. Furland, Michael Furland.
Yep.
This guy's an absolute psycho. So he was definitely one of the tougher guys in the league for a long time. So it was over quick, thank God. But I was going for a puck behind our net, and I got blindsided, and I smoked my head off the glass. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I would say I'd had a conky, but I was definitely out of it, and I kind of skated slow back to the front of my net. I wasn't really sure where the puck was. It was definitely in the zone still, but I saw a guy skate in front of me. I saw his skates, so I whacked him like this, and it was Furland, and we shed the gloves. I was definitely out of it still, but it ended up, it was Furlan that hit me too, and I didn't even know that at the time. So that's what I mean. I was completely out of it, but it was over quick, thank God.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I just had to look on hockeyfights.com. They said 90% Furlan got the W.
Oh yeah. I threw one over the top, and it definitely didn't make it to him, and then he hit me once on top of the head. Then it was pretty much over. Yeah, he fell over the top of me, and yeah, I wasn't going to win that. So
10% of the people said it was a draw, though. So.
yeah, just because it was over so damn quick. If it went any longer, I would have been dead. So, but no, the guys loved it, even though I didn't win.
And then who would you say, another question that just came up, who would you say had the biggest impact on you as far as being a young kid coming to the NHL team? Is there a guy that took you underneath his wing, kind of showed you the ropes? Are the vets are they like that? Or is it so business-like to where it's like, hey, kid, I got to focus on doing my shit because I don't want to be the one going down?
Yeah.
Is it like that?
Definitely a combination of both. I mean, you have your guys that are maybe like when I got in there, like Josh Georges helped me out a ton. Mark Pissick, who was my D partner there for those 7 games after my junior year. They definitely embraced me, but there's also obviously other guys that maybe weren't full-time guys that weren't exactly happy to see you come in for the last several games of the year. So it's definitely a combination of both. But yeah, overwhelming majority of the guys are really, really positive and trying to help you out and make you feel comfortable. So, I can guarantee that's across the league is definitely those vets are gonna try to make your experience for the better. I mean, they're trying to, and it probably just depends on not only the character of those vets, but if say they're trying to sign a college free agent guy again after the year, you know what I mean? You got to make his experience as best as possible. So, but they usually pamper you pretty good if they're trying to keep you after that stint. So, no, it was an awesome experience. And yeah, those first NHL games, I definitely remember the most.
My last question here for you. What was it like playing with Jack Eichel?
Yeah.
Like how good is, because obviously people like, that's the one thing. It's like people got to see his little short stint of him before this whole neck thing. And it's just like, people are waiting for the comeback. People are like, this guy is one of the greatest. Like, this guy's unbelievable. How good is Jack Eichel?
He's insane. I mean, we really only had a really, really good shot of scoring when he was on the ice, obviously in Buffalo. Obviously him and Reinhart were a big offensive piece for Buffalo when I was there. But I mean, he can take it end to end pretty much whenever he wants. So I mean, that's against the best players in the world. So I mean, just watching him every day you're watching one of the best players in the world, but he's just so powerful in everything he does. And as he's matured over the years, he's just getting better and better and more of a complete player defensively. So that's really fun to watch, especially as a younger kid starting out. I mean, I was a couple years older than him when I came in, you know what I mean? Right when I came in after my junior year, and it, it just feels weird because he's younger than me, but he's like the vet compared to me coming in, and he's trying to make me feel comfortable and stuff like that. So but he's awesome guy, and I'm definitely going to go watch him, see him play in Vegas here once he gets back. But it sounds like he's progressing really well. I think he's going to start practicing this week with them. So
then this kind of got me. Craziest story, best moment of the NHL partying, rookie party with the guys. Like, is there a funny story, a story you could tell us, share? Obviously you don't have to name drop guys if you don't want to, but
yeah, no. I mean, gosh, there's lots of stories, right? But I would definitely say one of my favorite stories was when we were in Vegas. This wasn't my rookie party. This was the following year's rookie party. And it was in Vegas, but we were all around the craps table. There's probably 10, 15 of us. And one of the guys kept, I forgot the hands for craps. But it was, I think it was hard 8 or something. I can't remember what it is, but it was just something that wasn't something that you were supposed to hit often. But he kept yelling it, and just because he wanted to hit it, but he hit this, I think it was hard 8 or I can't remember, but he kept yelling it before each of his throw, and he did it like 5 times in a row. And I don't know if you see in some of those movies where everyone starts gathering around the table and it gets louder and louder. That's what happened. And it was rowdy in that, I don't know which, we're in one of the bigger hotel casinos, and it was like a scene out of a movie where he was rolling for like 30, 40 minutes. And that's like I guess you're supposed to maybe see that once in your lifetime. So that was definitely part of it.
Drinks for the boys after, huh?
Oh yeah, and during, yeah. I mean, yeah. Always that full day.
Oh shit. Then I guess it's brought up. I don't know why I keep saying one more question.
No, just keep firing away, whatever you want.
Do you guys fly private? When you get, is it always private?
Yeah. So like when we say we usually practice and then we take off for a road game. So we'd get done practicing, we'd eat at the rink there, or some guys would go grab Chipotle to bring on the plane, or whatever you want to do. I mean, there's food everywhere for us, right? I mean, at the rink, it's insane. I mean, we have a full-time chef there, a full chef supply. So I mean, there's probably 10 workers just for us, putting stuff together at all times. So I mean, they call it the Never Hungry League, because there's not only that, but I mean, on the plane you have a few different options for sure, every plane ride, for food. So I mean, you have food at the rink, then you get on the plane, there's food, there's snacks, there's fruit platters, there's vegetable, like there's pretty much everything whenever you want it. But yeah, we fly private. So after say a practice there for a road, we'd drive to the airport separately, and you just have to be on the plane at a certain point. So we just go park. It'd be the backside of the airport, so not the actual public airport. So on the other side, there's other hangars that you see, and that's all private. So we just go park at the private facility there, and we'd walk onto the plane, fly wherever, and then walk right off the plane onto the bus. So didn't have to go through any airports other than when we flew to Canada. So just because you have to go through customs. But
Is that the same in the AHL too?
no, I mean, so where I was, we actually, I guess, had one of the best busing schedules in Rochester. It was
Just close, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, everything was within, I mean, there's a few teams within a couple hours, and then there's maybe a couple that were 3-4 hours away. And then one or two that were like those Canadian teams like Belleville. I can't remember how many hours, but maybe 5 or 6 max. So no, we had a decent busing schedule. Obviously it's not the most comfortable, but it could be worse. Let's just say that.
Did you and McCormick ever play against each other?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't remember when, but yeah, we did. Trying to think of anybody else.
How cool is that though? Like obviously you guys played AAA together as little kids, and then ended up playing against each other in the NHL. It's like both from little small towns in Wisconsin. It's just like it's pretty crazy.
No, it was awesome. Yeah, I was talking to him like a month ago actually, because he was called up for Seattle, and they're here in Arizona. So I actually saw his little brother Sam at an ASU game right before that. So then we kind of got in contact again. But yeah, no, it's awesome. I love that sort of thing. Just seeing everyone growing up that you played with or against, and seeing them make it. So it's awesome.
Big golfer guy.
Yeah. I love to golf. I haven't went in a good few weeks, so it's not good. I need to get out. But it's finally nice again. There's like a 4-week period where it was kind of iffy weather here, but it's sunshine pretty much every day now. So
Well, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on everything. You know, it was a great interview. Congratulations on your career. It was fun, obviously, playing against you as a little kid and getting to watch your whole experience growing up too. Is kind of awesome to see.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I love sharing. I just like sharing pretty much. I don't even like, obviously I like sharing the hockey side of things, but I love the other side of things too now that I'm doing. So
you ever come back to Wisconsin at all? Parents still live back here, or
so
no?
I came back to Wisconsin to Rapids actually for we put a camp on. When was that? Towards the end of summer there. So that was my first time putting something on in Rapids. Me and Kelly Jerminski, and a couple others around there. So no, that was fun. We want to do that kind of yearly now, just to try to grow the game back there in Rapids, because the numbers are way down. So
That it seems like it's everywhere here in Wisconsin
crazy.
now. It is.
I
But
mean,
yeah, anytime you come back, dude, stay in touch. We can shoot around to golf, or if we ever make it down to Arizona.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'll be around here for sure. So otherwise, I'll probably come back to Wisconsin around there for definitely that one time a year for that camp, but maybe some more for golf. So
Well, sounds good. We appreciate your time very much, man, and hope you have a great rest of your day and whatever. And we'll stay in touch.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.